In this lesson, what we're going to do is go over libraries in Python, or sometimes referred to as modules. And the reason we're going to do this is that several times when you're writing programs, you have to reuse the same type of code in different programs. And instead of writing the code from scratch each time, you can use code from previous programs, or even better, from somebody else, and then you don't have to go through the process of rewriting code. So I've created a repository that is empty, and we're going to go to our development environment, and I'm just going to clone that down, move into the directory. You can see that the README file is there, and I'm going to add our Python file. Instead of starting from scratch, I'm just going to go to one of our previous programs and grab the basics so that I don't need to type from scratch. And I'm going to save it right away. I'm going to call this program Floor because we're going to be using a module called math, and the function inside that we're going to be using is called floor. So this program, what it's going to do is take a number that is a decimal, or in Python we refer to them as floats, and it's going to return the floor equivalent, which is basically just removing the decimal portion of it. So this program uses modules or libraries. And to use this module, we're going to use what's called an import statement. And we're going to import the library called math. And math has a whole bunch of functions inside of it that we can use. So this function is going to integer portion of a float. So we're just going to use one print statement. Just going to delete these other ones. And inside the print statement, we're just going to use this function. Just going to change this and say part of, and I'm going to use 12.4 as an example. So we're going to use the placeholder, and then inside our format statement, this is where we're going to use this function. So if we start typing math, you'll see that it shows up. And if you place dot after this, what we can do is use the function called floor. And what that does is it will accept our 12.4. And this function will hopefully convert the 12.4 just to 12, and then it will place it right here. So I'm going to save this and then run our program. And you can see it took this and placed it right here, and then it took the 12.4 and used this function that somebody else wrote and converted it to 12. So just to prove that this is really working, I'm going to change our number to 12.9. So it's not rounding it off, so this should still remain at 12. It shouldn't go to 13. This isn't the same as a rounding function. So I'm going to run it again. And you can see that it still converts it to 12. So math is a library that has several functions in it. We just used one of them, but there are other functions. There is, show up, there's a function called math.py, and as you can dissipate, it will actually return 3.14 for us. It actually returns not the truncated version or the rounded off version, it returns the exact value of pi. So that could be useful in other programs that we're using. You'll notice that after the import statement, we have 2 spaces. That's the standard in Python, and just 1 space after our comment header. It usually goes after the comment header and before the main. And as always, we should probably just have 2 spaces here and then end with our 1. So that's what our program should look like in the end with proper style. And that's how we're going to introduce libraries in Python.